अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नारायण परावेदा देवा नारायणाङ्गजाः नारायण परालोका नारायण परामखाः नारायण परो योगो नारायण परन्तपः नारायण परं ज्ञानं नारायण परागतिः तस्मातेकेन मनसा भगवान् सात्वतां पतिः श्रोतव्य कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येयपूज्यश्च नित्यदा। जयति जगति मायां यस्य कायाधवस्ते वचनरचनमेकं केवलं शाकलय्य ध्रुवपदमपि यातो यत्कृपातो ध्रुवोऽयं सकलकुशलपात्रं ब्रह्मपुत्रं नतास्मि। सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः। We are seeing the Narada Bhakti Sutras, and we have completed up to 55 sutras in the Narada Bhakti Sutras, and we are seeing how the para bhakti is anirvachaniya, it cannot be described. And in the last video we saw that this lakshanas of para bhakti as it is does not have any guna, without any desires, without any expectation. That is para bhakti. We saw in the last sutra, in the last video. Now in this video, Sage Narada tells about the different types of bhakti. Sutra 56, Gauni Tridha, Guna Bedhat, Artadi Bedhat. That is, he is telling that Gauna Bhakti, even Gauna Bhakti, which is the preliminary Bhakti, it is of three types based on the guna, the qualities of nature, and the artharthi based on the attitude of the bhaktas. We all worship bhakta with some intention. That makes the difference. With what intention we approach Bhagavan, that makes the difference. In bhakti itself, there are three varieties. That is, the preliminary is the Gauna Bhakti, then the next is the Mukhya Bhakti, then is the Supreme Bhakti, that is Para Bhakti. In the Gauna Bhakti and Mukhya Bhakti, in that both these bhaktis, we see Bhagavan as different. We might have worshipped Bhagavan in some form as Bhagavan Krishna or Bhagavan Shiva or Devi. So they are different from us. We are separate from Bhagavan, they are different from us. That is the point in the Gauna Bhakti and Mukhya Bhakti. In the Para Bhakti, this difference is not there. There is no Bhagavan and there is no Bhakta. Only Bhakti is there. So that is the difference. Now in the preliminary stage, that is in the Gauna Bhakti itself, there are three types based on the guna. That is, the three gunas are the Satvika, Rajas and Tamo guna. So the Bhakti also differs, the Gauna Bhakti also differs as the Satvika Gauna Bhakti, Rajasika Gauna Bhakti and the Tamasika Gauna Bhakti. In the Satvika Gauna Bhakti, the Bhakta feels that he's so close to Bhagavan, he's very near Bhagavan, and it is from this stage he can easily pass over to the Para Bhakti. That is the Sattviha Gauna Bhakti. He does not have any personal desires to worship Bhagavan or no intention. He just loves Bhagavan. He wants to be always near Bhagavan so that it gives him pleasure. He experiences the bliss when he is near Bhagavan. But still he feels that Bhagavan is different from him. That's why it is said as the Gauna Bhakti, secondary Bhakti. But he feels that difference, but still he derives pleasure out of it. When he is worshipping, he derives pleasure out of it. So without any motive or anything, he worships Bhagavan unconditionally. That is Sattviha Gauna Bhakti. Now, the Rajasiha Gauna Bhaktis, they have some desires. These bhaktas, they have some desires or some intention to get from Bhagavan. As I said in the last video, we try our best to attain something. When we cannot do anything, we leave it to Bhagavan. Please, Bhagavan, give me this, give me that. So that is the Rajasiha Gauna Bhakti. And Tamasika Gauna Bhakti is they just worship Bhagavan to show that, just as a show off, or they celebrate festival as the competition with the other religion or with the other communities. Their intention is not is very low. So with that intention only they worship Bhagavan. So that is the Tamasika Gauna Bhakti. Now, this is based on the guna. The Gauna Bhakti based on the guna is this. And Narada says the Gauna Bhakti also differs according to the attitude of the Bhakta. For what reason they are worshipping that, also that attitude of the Bhakta also will differ. And that is said in the Bhagavad Gita also, a very famous sloka said in the 7th chapter, verse 16. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana suhrudinarjuna artha jignyasurartarti jnani cha bharadarshava. For four purpose people worship me, the bhaktas worship me. One is Chaturvidha, four types. First is the artha. Artha bhakti means when a person is in distress, they don't fail to worship Bhagavan. When they are in distress, when they are in difficulty, when they want something so badly, they worship Bhagavan. That's why I said when we cannot use our power, we just open our hands to Bhagavan. So that is Artha Bhakti, and the example for all this is Gajendra. He got moksha, but Gajendra elephant did not worship Bhagavan from the beginning itself. He tried his best to survive, but at last he cannot. So at that last moment, he called Bhagavan. Sriman Narayana and Bhagavan came. So that is one example for it. And also Draupadi. She always considered Bhagavan Krishna as her friend and a relative, but not as Bhagavan. At the time when she suffered, she just called Bhagavan and Bhagavan also came immediately. So that is the Artha Bhakti. Next is the Jignasu. Some people worship Bhagavan just to understand him, just to know him out of curiosity. Jignasu, that example for that is the Uddhava. Uddhava also says that, I want to know who are you, Krishna. I just want to know you. Uddhava and Janaka Maharaja or like that type. And Artharthi, many people, this is very common, people worship Bhagavan for wealth, for some position, status. This is very common in this world. And perfect example for it is Vibhishana. He won that kingdom and so he doesn't like that way of life. So he came to Bhagavan Sri Ram. Sugriva, Dhruva, all these bhaktas are the great example for the Artharthi. The fourth is the Jnani. He worships Bhagavan for attaining jnana. So Bhagavan also says that among all these bhaktas, a jnani is very dear to me because he worshipped me to know me. So he is very dear to me. So based on the attitude of the bhaktas or based on the vasanas, the bhakti decides. And that's what Narada says is Gauni Tritha. That is, there are three types of Gauna Bhakti. Guna Vedat, that is difference based on the guna. Arthadi Bheda, that is based on the attitude or the vasanas. And apart from it, the concept of the Bhagavan also differs, and according to that also the Bhakti and Bhakta both differ. Concept of Bhagavan means first is the Uttama Bhaktas, Uttama Bhakti. They see Bhagavan in them, just like the Jnanis, they see Bhagavan in them. So when they see Bhagavan in them, they see Bhagavan in everyone. So that's our nature, isn't it? When we have something, when we have a problem, we also think that all the others will have the same problem. So just like that, he feels Bhagavan residing in him. So he also feels that Bhagavan is residing in all the other bhaktas or all the other people, and he respect them and treat them in that way. That is the Uttama Bhakti. It is very close to Para Bhakti. The next is Madhyama Bhakti. Madhyama Bhakti means they see Bhagavan as different from them. They worship Bhagavan. They are great bhaktas, but they do not consider that Bhagavan is inside them or like that, but they respect all the other bhaktas. So that is the Madhyama Bhakti. Say they see the different from them, and but they respect all the bhaktas. They are not cruel to others. The lower class is the Parakrita Bhakti. That is, Parakrita Bhakti means they see that Bhagavan is only in the ideal inside the temple. He is not anywhere else. So they worship Bhagavan inside the temple. When they come out, they fight with other bhaktas or anyone. They use harsh language. They will be very rude people. Even inside the temple, when they do not get the place in the front row, they will just shout at everyone and disturb everyone because they feel that Bhagavan is only in the ideal and he is not anywhere. So that is the very lower level of bhakti, that is the Parakrita Bhakti. But what Narada says and what the Shastra says is, whatever form of bhakti it is, it has to be respected. And that is the next sutra. Uttarasmat Uttarasmat Purva Purva Shreyaya Bhavati. So, whatever a trace of bhakti is there in a person, it may be a very lower prakrita bhakti or the tamasika bhakti, that has to be encouraged and developed because we all of us were like this at one stage. It may be in our purva janma or if for some people in maybe in this janma itself. We all began in that way. So even a trace of bhakti is there in a person. It has to be encouraged, developed, and respected. One cannot come immediately to the para bhakti stage. It's not possible. If we see someone like that, then he must have practiced all the other types of bhakti in his previous janma. It is not at all possible to come immediately to the para bhakti stage. We have to gradually develop. A person with the tamasika bhakti, he has to develop his bhakti to the rajasika bhakti, that is to attain something from Bhagavan. Then he has to develop it to sattvika bhakti, where he enjoys worshipping Bhagavan. Only like that only it has to develop. It will develop. So any trace of bhakti has to be encouraged. Even a person who feel that only Bhagavan is only in the ideal and not in anywhere and come outside the temple and fight with everyone else, that bhakti should be developed because it can grow in future to Madhyama Bhakti, where he respect all the others, and slowly, gradually it grows to the first Uttama Bhakti. So any form of bhakti has to be respected and developed. Only then it will grow because every type of bhakti begins with, for all the bhaktas, bhakti begins with a very small trace. So if someone would have helped us to improve it to this level, so we must also help others to come up in their bhakti, to improve their bhakti and attain the state where Bhagavan is not different from bhakta. So that is explained in these two sutras. I will continue with the next sutra in my next upload. Om Namo Narayanaaya.